Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Nashwa Saeed, and this is the first video in the second level of the series Recite Right on how to read Quran in the right way following the Tajweed rules. In the same time, it is the 14th in this course Recite Right. We're going to open this level speaking about a very important topic, which is the characteristics of the letters. Characteristics of the letters actually do guard the articulation points, since they are working as criticizers for the right or the wrong makharij. If you are in the right makhraj, you will be pronouncing the letter with its right characteristics, as we will practice later on. Now I need you to focus and listen. When I would say أضحى أضحى, and when I would say يحوي, what is the difference between the dad and the ha sounds in these two words? The dad is a strong letter, which means that we have a strong collision in its makhraj, and this will affect the vertical moves of the vocal cords while pronouncing the dad. They will be moving up and down quickly, which will cause that the whole amount of exhale which is produced to pronounce the da will turn to be fully a sound with no breath mixed with it. This happens in the apparent al-jahr, and the letter in this case called the apparent or the voice letter حرف مجهور. While in the ha, when I said yahwi, the weak collision in the ha makhraj caused that the exhale turned to be sound plus breath mixed with the ha sound, yahwi. This is the whisper characteristic, al-hams, and the letter is called, in this case, whisper or voiceless letter, حرف مهموس. The hams letters are فحثه شخص سكت, تا ثا حا خا سين شين صاد فا كاف and ها. The apparent is a strong characteristic, while the whisper is a weak one. And this will help us later on to define the strong and the weak letters. So we have apparent al-jahr and its opposite, whisper al-hams. And they do describe the vertical moves of the vocal cords while pronouncing the letter. Like أضحى, يحوي, also أذكى, apparent letter, while مستطيرة, the scene is a whisper or hams letter. The second group of characteristics with opposites, which describes the vocal form, the second corner of the vocal form, the group which describes the horizontal moves of the vocal cords. Notice when I do speak saying ad, ad. Did you know the letters? I guess you didn't. Since here, the vocal cords moved horizontally in a strong way, which caused that they do close to each other so strongly, which will cause that the letter sound will be imprisoned behind the vocal cords. And I need to do an extra job to complete pronouncing the letter. Like when I say aj, ad. Now you knew that the letters were jim and dal. Also, if I said at, you don't know which letters. While if I said ak, at, now you knew that the letters were kaf and ta. So the imprisonment or ashidda, its letters are أجد قط بكت همزة جيم دال قاف طاء با كاف and تا. And if the letter was قلقلة letter, the extra job you have to do to complete pronouncing the letter is قلقلة. While if the letter was whisper or hams, the extra job is the whisper or hams itself. The hamza doesn't have any other job to complete its sound. The second characteristic which describes the horizontal moves of the vocal cords is the moderation, التوسط. Its letters are لين عمر, لام, نون, عين, ميم, را. The letter in this characteristic starts with imprisonment, شدة, and ends with رخاوة, flappiness, رخاوة. Starts as a locked or seized sound and ends up as a flappiness or running sound. Like when I do say al, an, and so on. The third characteristic which describes the horizontal moves is the flappiness or الرخاوة. Its letters are the rest of the Arabic letters. Like when I do say, for example, أزكى, the Z sound. Also, when I do say أصلب, the صاد sound, and so on. The flappiness and the moderation are different from the flappiness in the flappiness itself, since in the moderation I cannot control its time. The letter sound has to stop by itself, al, an. If I could control its time, so I'm not in the right makhraj. And this is what we do mean by the characteristics do guard the makharij. While the flappiness in the flappiness itself, I can control its sound. I can keep saying, for example, as, but of course not in the Quran. Now we came to the questions. Please fill the spaces. The imprisonment causes that the letters sound to be. Thus, we have to complete the letters. You have to mention the 5 letters sounds with qalqala, since they are what letters? Qalqala. While we have to complete the sounds of the 2 letters, the first and the second, with, since they are whisper letters. The second question, what is the form of the voice? Here you will mention that the form of the voice consists of 2 groups of characteristics, which are the apparent and its opposite, the whisper, al-jahr, wal-hams, and the second group, the imprisonment, the moderation, and their opposite, the flappiness, الشدة والتوسط والرخاوة. And you explain in details. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.